Hola. Thanks for tuning in. This is Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here. I am here in Malaga, Spain, and I figured I'd go live. I had initially tried to do another live video, but what happened was it just kind of shut off by itself. So there's that. I'm not sure what that was about, but anyway, here I am, and I'm wanting to take some questions and try and answer what I can. A lot has happened since just what it feels like only a few days ago that I last updated you guys from Seville and talked to you guys about some of the stuff I was up to. I've done countless videos, and I'm between videos right now here in Malaga. I did go to a pretty amazing site in Antequera. I don't know how to roll my R's like some people do out here. But yeah, so I went out to this amazing site out in that area that was over 6,000 years old. And it predates Stonehenge. It could be even older than 6,000, honestly. I gotta navigate some crowds here. Make sure to press like if you haven't already. And I did a report from there at the Dolmen of Menga and the Dolmen of Vieira. And they are truly incredible sites that I'm really excited to bring you. I went inside, I did some investigating around there. I realized that going over there will be way too loud, so I gotta go this way. Loud music playing. So anyway, I want to take some questions, so make sure to throw some questions at me. I'll do the best I can to answer them to the best of my ability. I see some people have tuned in. Hello to all of those that are watching. If you're just tuning in, I want to take some questions, and I'm going to do the best to answer as many as possible while I'm out here in Malaga, Spain. So I'm not seeing anything come up in the chat, so make sure to send something. Make sure to press like if you haven't already. There's 27 out of 133,000 subscribers watching. So your likes definitely make more people aware that I am still alive, because YouTube has made it so that no one knows that I still exist. But anyway, I'm gonna go down this side street here. Should be quieter. Jeffrey Fraser says hi there. Hello to you, Jeffrey. Crypto Shrugged author says, why are you in Spain? I missed the reason. Well, I'm going around Europe, going to a lot of the most amazing ancient sites, as well as reporting on local issues that are affecting people and studying the cultures and everything. You need to understand as many different places around the world as you can to really get a hang of, how people are the same everywhere, but issues are different, and there's usually a depth to issues that we are not aware of just from reading the news about a certain country or place. Also, currently, Malaga is, not currently, Malaga has been one of the most ancient and historic places in all of Europe for many, many years, and has gone through so many different empires. Everything from Arabic empires to Catholic to, there's the Roman, the pagans. There were the Moorish people. A lot of people come through here. It helps because this place is actually one of the closest places connecting the Strait of Gibraltar with Africa. So I see a few comments coming in. I would need some context, so let me just go through some of this. Hi from Australia says, what a goose. Good to see you. Just gotta navigate some crowds here. Right by Picasso's house here. Pablo Picasso came from here, actually. Interesting place. Let me turn the camera around for a moment. This is the Picasso Museum. I think he's from this place. I'm not sure if this was his house or not, but it seems a little big. I don't know. Anyway, let's get back to my face. All right. So I see a few things. Linda Lee says, have you talked to locals on their economy, and are they worried? Yeah, well, you can see that in places like Barcelona. You can't see that as much in places like Malaga or Seville. Just trying to navigate here, sorry. You can see that in places like Malaga and Seville, or you can't see that in places like Malaga and Seville as much because while there are homeless, there's homeless everywhere, wherever you go. But more importantly, in places like Barcelona, the rents are incredibly high, and it's really difficult to afford basic necessities there. I mean, just looking at hotels before I head out there, because I'm going there I think tomorrow. Just looking around at the costs, it's just totally crazy. So there's a big difference. That's obviously the Catalonian referendum that took place there, and the government still isn't respecting that vote. Can you believe it? There's people not respecting a vote. But so yeah, I think that has that's a big factor that plays into it. The Catalonian referendum is I'm gonna be talking to people on the street. I'm gonna try to do a streeter while I'm out there, in English, obviously, and get some more information on that. I think there's a lot to be spoken of there, and so that's definitely my plan. But yeah, there obviously, well, we have Banco Popular. There's Santander. There's multiple major banks in this region, and there's multiple problems with multiple banks in this region. Let me just get past the music here. I am at the ancient theater, ancient Roman theater, and there's the castle. I did a walkthrough video of that castle yesterday, I think. Walked through the castle and did some interesting work there. That'll be on a vlog channel, I think. I don't think that'll be on the WAM channel. Got this public square here. Anyway, getting back to the questions. Yeah, there are issues with the economy, but there's issues with the economy on a global scale. Everywhere you go around the world, there's issues with the economy. It might seem like a given that obviously there's issues with the economy in places in Africa, like Mauritania, where I was recently. But I mean, it's a symptom of a greater problem, a worldwide problem. And you go to a place like Mauritania, and they went to a 1:10 ratio with their currency. So 100 note became 1,000, and 1,000 became 10,000, and all that kind of stuff. And their currency was inflating. So the agulla, they just changed out the numbers or the amount of zeros. This is an issue you see everywhere, and you saw that in ancient Rome as well. And I have a report, of course, coming up on that, which I'm looking forward to bringing you as well. If you just tuned in, I'm taking questions. I'm in Malaga, Spain here at an ancient Roman theater and an ancient Arabic castle. Make sure to press like if you haven't already. Let's see what we got here. Lots of questions coming in. You got to keep up. Sorry, guys. It's easy to get distracted here, by the way. Malaga is just a truly amazing place. I kind of want to move here, honestly. So let's see what we got here. Sean Crush says, only 106 degrees today. Come back home. Yeah, it's really humid here today. It's overcast, which is the first time I've seen overcast since I've been traveling through Europe, which I left on August 7th. So I haven't seen any overcast until today, so it's kind of welcoming in a way to see something that means maybe rain. That would be good. M. says, and Portugal, or are you coming to Lisbon? No, I can't afford that. I want to go to Portugal really badly. I know Luke Rudowski of We Are Change was just there. I'm planning on heading to Barcelona next, and then from Barcelona, I'm heading to, where was it again? Some guys just started blasting copyrighted music, so I gotta move away from here before I get my channel taken down. Because, copyright stuff, statism. But anyway, so I'm going from here to Barcelona, and Barcelona to Paris, and Paris to possibly Amsterdam. Amsterdam was just a way to end off my trip. Nothing interesting going on there, but it's also on the way to Berlin, where there are cheaper flights going back to Vegas, and stuff like that. it's rather cheap to travel around out here. Once you get to Frankfurt, you end up paying about, I don't know. I remember I paid for one flight for $200 all the way to Frankfurt and then $40 to Seville. Or you take like a $20 train ride from Frankfurt to, Verona, Italy, or, Venice, Italy. It's really only costs about $250 sometimes, or often, very often, to get to places like Venice, Italy. People don't understand the real travel hacks that are out there that you could utilize if you know what you're doing and you stay away from things like Expedia, because Expedia is going to give you a bad time, guys. Guarantee you that. Let me actually get around this copyrighted music. There's like everywhere I turn, there's copyrighted music. Let's see here. We got more coming in here. I saw something pop up here. Oh, End the Resistance sent $5 Australian. Thank you so much. That means a lot. Again, for those that, and he says, Jesus Christ is Lord. Thank you so much for sending me that, man. That means a lot. The YouTube, people often think that I'm running around here spending a whole bunch of money, but that isn't exactly the case. It costs more money to stay in one place than it does to travel. Obviously, if you're going to all these lavish 5-star hotels, it costs a lot, but it really doesn't cost that much to just go to places like Venice and travel around Europe. Europe's a really cheap place to navigate. I ended up staying in Malaga longer than I expected because the price of tickets just randomly went from $48 to get to Barcelona to $900. So I decided to stay a couple days longer. I don't know how that happens, but anyway. I'm like climbing some stairs here towards a castle. Be cool to do a live stream from the castle. Bosnian pyramids, not that far away. Oh, it's pretty far away. But I mean, that's an interesting site that I definitely want to get to. But I cannot make any promises right now. Let's turn this around for a moment. That is a glass pyramid down there. And this is the ancient Roman amphitheater, or not theater. Well, yeah, it's a theater, not an amphitheater though. Then we have this ancient castle. It was built between the 10th century and the 15th century. Very cool place. And then you got the cathedral over there. This whole town is a walking museum. Anyway. Back to me. What a Goose sent $30 Australian, $30.99. Thank you so much. That means a lot. Again, those super chats seriously are what keep us alive. We've had to deal with dramatic demonetization in recent days and dramatic shadow banning where they cut down our audience about, I guess you could say 80% or so since since January, around January, I'd say. And our subscriptions went from 400 new subscribers a day down to as much as 3 or 4, or in the negative quite often. It's truly pretty crazy. So I really appreciate that. It makes a huge difference. I don't know how I ended up here, but I'm just climbing stairs here. No idea where I'm going. Just walking around a castle wall here. Hopefully internet works in here. Anyway, good food at El Pimpi, says force majeure. Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't get a table there last night. It was like a 45-minute wait. So I decided to go to the restaurant next door instead. Anyway, more questions coming in. Norman Liu says, food and drink is cheap, but anything imported there is a big markup, i.e. clothes. Yeah, absolutely. I don't touch anything other than food and water and stuff like that. Pretty nice view up here, I guess. This is exhausting. This is one of the more exhausting live streams I've done recently on the castle wall, I guess. built stairs into the castle wall, which I'm not exactly in favor of, but nonetheless, cool view. Sorry if I'm missing questions here. Crod 7435, Europe is way too socialist. Not necessarily. A lot of it, yes. France, yes. Germany, yes. But much of it isn't. I mean, it's just, I hear that a lot, but no one enforces these laws that we hear about. There's often no cops around or anything, and people do whatever they want, and it definitely feels more free here than the United States most of the time. In most cases, not France or Germany though. That's a completely different situation. Every time I'm there, I want to get out as soon as possible. Beautiful countries, but a lot wrong. Sean Crush says Aussies are generous, or is it the right time of day there? I think both would apply. I really appreciate it though. Let me just move on to the next here. I'm along the wall of this castle here, or fortress. I believe it's called Azkabar or Azkazar or something. It's a nice place. It's only, you just go for a walk and you end up here. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. Definitely love the city of Malaga. All right. Let's see. We got a comment from Norman Liu. Says 40% unemployment for the young ones in Spain. Yeah, there's crazy unemployment. That's everywhere. The numbers are similar in the United States. They're just completely muzzled or hidden by the labor force participation rate. If you look at the labor force participation rate, you'll find a very similar issue in the United States. Canada as well, Britain as well. We've done reports on that recently. And everywhere you go, really, there's just crazy unemployment. It's like we've never seen before. That's not necessarily the policies of countries, though it has to do with it, because control always ends in destruction, as we've seen in so many empires that have fallen. But at the same time, it's more to do with a global empire, this creation of this global empire, the creation of just vast centralization and dependence, no matter where you go in the world. People are dependent slaves everywhere. You see it when you stop at a crosswalk and it says red, a red walking thing, it says don't walk. And there's no cars for miles and you're just standing there. People are just like whistling and they're looking and they're like, oh, I guess I'm standing here like a robot. And it's like, how about you just cross the road? How's that? I mean, why can't you just cross the road? Oh, but it says you can't. Okay. That's not a really good reason, but that's the way people are, So we got to the top here, and there is, you can't go any further. I can smell that they're lighting incense around here. It smells pretty good around here, actually. Let's see, we've got a comment from Sean Crush says, you want Josh to film our homeless? Got a few years to watch. There's homeless everywhere again, like everywhere you go. It's impossible to miss, like you cannot escape it. So I don't think that's a unique thing in any given place. I think it's crazy in places like LA, and it's crazy in places like New York, and it's crazy in places like Vancouver, and it's crazy in places like France, and it's crazy in places like London, England. That's unavoidable completely, and it's sad. It's a symptom of dependency and vast centralization and printing of currency. I found another path here. Cool. I'm on their ancient mountain and I'm by the ruins of this castle. For those just tuning in, make sure to press like if you haven't already. It helps with the algorithm, because this video will probably just never see another view after I end this live stream. It'll just get hidden forever. So we could really use any help we can get in just even pressing like. It changes everything. Makes us able to be seen by more people, even if it's just a few. It makes a difference. So anyway, Terminator 800 Fate says liked, thank you. Force Majeure says liked, thank you. Appreciate it. And let's see, we got Karen Longmore says overcast weather does look very grand solar minimum. Well, there's been like this is the first case of overcast that I've seen lately. I'm not going to go over there because there's a tunnel and I'll lose internet if I go in there. Go inside of a mountain, probably not the best idea for doing a live stream. I got another place I can go, just follow me. Let's see. How many people will Metro Police shoot this week? Depends where. Take the population and give it a large percentage. What do you expect? They're henchmen, they're organized criminals. They are going to shoot people and kill people if they do not comply. Give them the papers. Oh, it smells like sewage here. A says liked, thank you. Sean Krush says Vegas. Oh yeah. Well, they're complete mob in Vegas. It's over the top. It's actually like the budget for the police there is crazy compared to most cities. Like as far as the actual per capita rate and the amount of money that goes towards the cops, despite the force not being as big as many other big major cities, they get a lot less. It says a lot about those henchmen. And it's funny because when I was in Rome and when I was in Florence, I saw a lot of cops that were like driving Lamborghinis and Rolls Royces and Aston Martins and stuff. Like, think about that. These guys are driving luxury cars around extorting people that make less money for, currency. It's wrong on every level. I feel like I'm totally about to enter a busy street. I should probably go back to where I came from to get around this castle because I don't feel like doing a live stream while trying to cross a busy street. Let me just go back this way. Anyway. Andrew Candace says, the more you talk, the more I like you as a YouTuber. You're a libertarian, right? You might be a lot smarter than me. That's awesome. I'm not that smart, but sadly, I'm smarter than most people. I mean, don't be too hard on yourself. I feel like anyone that's watching this video has already taken a massive step up from 99.999% of people on the planet. Not because it's me, but because they have the interest, because it's, they have a passion, they have an interest, they have curiosity, and that's more than most people can say, for sure. So I appreciate it. Libertarian's right, but it depends on your definition, because I would consider myself an anarchist or a voluntarist or something along those lines. I just don't believe in using force against people, but I also believe that people have a responsibility to defend themselves from the use of force too. So it's a very complicated issue. I'm writing a book about it, but I've been so busy that I haven't been able to add to it as much as I wanted to. I gave up. My yearly goal was to get the book done, but instead I switched out my yearly goal for going to Mauritania and Turkey, which I've gone to Mauritania and now I'm going to Turkey. In less than a month I'll be there. This is a cool shot here. Beautiful, beautiful city here. Absolutely beautiful. I gotta stop climbing so many hills though. It's killing me. That's weird. It seems that YouTube has gotten rid of that $30 super chat. It says that it's only $4.05 in super chats that have come through so far. Leave it up to YouTube for shenanigans. We cannot do it without the super chats, by the way. They keep us alive. They make it possible for us to report from crazy locations like this, though I will say that I didn't spend a cent of donation money or anything like that on this particular trip because I wouldn't feel right doing that. I spent it on food and water and shelter and going to places like where was it again? Like Iraq. I'm spending the money mostly on going to the dangerous places, not the nice places. Though I think Iraq is a very nice place, despite what some people think, and that's one of the things I'm going to be reporting on. But my plan is to go to all the craziest sites that no one is willing to go to in the world and report from there. because no one else is willing to. So someone has to, and I feel like it's a good opportunity for me to go out there and show people what things are really like or how things really are in these places, and places that are endangered by the US government possibly blowing them up, especially. Let's see. Lots of bugs over here. Stop the world. Joss is investing in hamster farms. That would be a really strange twist, wouldn't it? Julio Cañete says, "Hi Josh, I live in Malaga. How long will you be around here?" I've been around here for the last 5 days, I think, and I'm leaving tomorrow morning on a flight to Barcelona. I'm gonna be doing some work out there. I'll be around tonight though. It's hard not to enjoy yourself in Malaga. I'm considering moving here when my lease is up on one of my my place in Vegas. So there's like mosquitoes going in my face here. So anyway, yeah, I'll be around for tonight anyway. I don't know how I would survive though if I lived here. Honestly, there's way too much to do, more than Vegas even. Let me see here. I need to get out of this area because there's bugs everywhere. They're driving me crazy. Let's see. Go through some of these questions. Finance and economics says, at least you should be safe in Spain. Oh, of course. It's a very safe place. I feel much more in danger in most Canadian cities or US cities. It's always the opposite of whatever you hear on the news. Oh. Anyway. Not too bad. Okay, a new super chat from Stay Strong. Thank you very much for the $5. That, again, that makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. She says, I like this video. Thank you. One moment. I like this video. Thank you so much. Is PayPal better? No, it isn't, because I got banned from PayPal. I got banned from PayPal because someone scammed me on it. So instead of PayPal actually, maybe, I don't know, making it right, they decided, instead of banning the person that messed with me, they ended up instead banning me and him. So that was great. Anyway, sorry, I'm a little out of breath and out of it just from climbing up these stairs. It's a lot of stairs and ramps and bugs flying in my face, and it's hot out and all that kind of stuff. There's someone yelling at someone saying you can't do something to someone over here. No, don't do that. No drinking water. Okay then. Slaves. Let's see what we got here. Pacifism says, cool shirt and interesting vid yesterday. Thank you. Yeah, Tim and John have been bringing us some good stuff lately that I've been enjoying a lot to watch. I haven't been able to be as involved in a lot of these things, so it's really good to see them help me out in that way and bring great reports and videos to WAM. And they did a show yesterday with Juan Galt and Kingsley Edwards, friends of ours here at WAM, and discussing some of their great ideas and innovations that they have been working on so vigilantly. So yeah, and also I got a Dash shirt on. A few people have noticed here in Spain. Crypto is pretty big in Spain, actually. Not as much in Malaga, but in Barcelona it's huge. I see places everywhere that take it. Let's see. But again, thank you so much for, oh man, this guy just started playing copyright music right next to me. Okay, I gotta go over here. Copyright laws are so stupid. They could just like take down my channel. Really? Oh, well, you were walking by a guy who had music for a moment, and obviously people are gonna listen to that instead of buying the album, so we gotta take your channel down. Crazy. Anyway, $14.99 from What a Goose. Thank you so much again. Really appreciate it. That's huge. Bye, Josh. Enjoy the rest of your trip. I absolutely will, and I'll be tuning. I hope you all tune in again. I'm not going away yet, but I hope you all tune in again soon for one of my other walk and talk videos around one of these crazy places somewhere in the world. Who knows where I'll go next? I do. Barcelona, Paris, Amsterdam. To answer that question for me. Anyway, I really appreciate that, though. Again, we've been dealing with crazy shadow banning and demonetization. So when super chats come in, it causes us to be able to actually survive as a channel and bring you content, free content on a daily basis. We've been trying to the best of our ability lately to bring it on a daily basis. It's not as easy lately because of all of the traveling that I've been trying to get done. I've got a ton of videos piled up, a ton of them from Italy still. I found some interesting stuff in a museum in Florence and at the Vatican as well. I went to the Vatican in Rome and did some investigating, and we got a couple reports coming from there. So hope you stay tuned for that. I also did a video on the fall of Rome. I also did a video on the Dolmen of Menga, 6,000-year-old megalithic structure in Andalusia, Spain, close to Malaga. I had to rent a car for that one. Luckily, rental cars are super cheap out here, so I just rented a car, drove out for 45 minutes to this place because there weren't any buses that went there from Malaga for a few days anyway, and got an interesting report done. So I'm looking forward to bringing you that as well. Stay Strong sent $10. It says I was told that YouTube takes a big chunk. If true, do you have an alternative for donation? Yeah, absolutely. And I really appreciate that. That means a lot. It helps a lot. Keeps us alive. You can check out things like we have GoFundMe at the bottom of almost all of our videos, except for some of our recent videos, I think, with Tim and John. But all of my reports, my edited reports, you can check out the British pension video in the description. I have it. GoFundMe, Patreon, Subscribestar, Float for donating or pledging crypto, float.app, flote.app. So yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of options. If you are in Canada, you can do an email money transfer to our email, worldalternativemedia@gmail.com. I'm not sure they have email money transfers in most places, but they have them in Canada. So if you're Canadian, you can do that. Anyway, let's see what else we got here. I'm trying to stay out of the big crowds, but it's really hard in Malaga. It's just a really crowded place around the tourist areas. Let's see, we got a few more comments here. Let's see. Hash Info says hi, buddy. Hello to you as well. People find it so weird when they see someone talking to a camera. It's like looking at an alien or something. Every time I do a video out in public, I get all these people that are like, what? Why are you looking at a camera? They'll stop and just stare at me, and it just makes me really awkward. It makes it hard for me to deliver whatever message I'm trying to deliver at the moment. So yeah, it's awkward. Let's see. Oh yeah, and we have Bitcoin address on our in most of our videos, as well as in the description, which people can help with as well. Bitcoin helps a huge amount. Josh Friedman says happy travels to you, as you always seem to be traveling. I will see you in Turkey in September. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. Awesome donor by the name of Fred, who I should emphasize is awesome again, is sending me out to Turkey with him to investigate Göbekli Tepe and Derinkuyu and places like that around Turkey. We're going to be driving all over Turkey, and I cannot wait. It's going to be amazing. Turkey is a beautiful country with amazing people and amazing sites. One of the most historic countries in the world, and I cannot wait to go there and report on the true ancient Mesopotamia between two rivers, the Tigris and Euphrates. Let me just get through this crowd here. Find maybe a more quiet place. Sweating like crazy here. Let's see. Fred Flintstone says silver updates. All right. I'm not sure what that means.
Well,
Force majeure says lol. I'm missing a lot of comments because I'm just trying to navigate a bunch of crowds, which is kind of difficult. Now here comes a tractor. Okay. Let's walk through this construction zone. Maybe this will be quiet. Sleepy Joe 2020 says end the resistance. Sleepy Joe, he looks like a CGI figure. Like, have you seen him? Like, he obviously had plastic surgery or something. He looks so weird these days. So weird. Now, what am I getting myself into here? No idea where I am, but this seems interesting and inviting. I feel like I'm going to lose the internet when I go in there because of the rock walls on both sides. Oh, but now that tractor that I was trying to get away from is going down this way. I guess I'm going to go here. If I cut out, just that's why. I'll be back in a moment if I do. Get through this part and hopefully my internet doesn't go down. I love Europe though. You just walk around and find yourself in places. But this alleyway smells like piss, so let's get out of here. Oh, man, it smells terrible. Anyway, Casey Hamilton says hi from Charles, Missouri. Great to see you. Video's done. No one will ever see it again if it doesn't get enough likes because it'll just get shadow banned completely. Likes help with the algorithm. Silver Update says hamster piss. What's with you and hamsters? You guys and hamsters lately? Weird. I don't get the joke. Force Majeure says, what's your favorite place in Europe? Malaga. My second favorite so far from all the places I've gone would have to be Florence. Third, Venice. Fourth, Barcelona. Fifth, Paris. Sixth, Seville. I think that's a good mashup. I wasn't crazy about Verona in Italy. I wasn't crazy. Milan was kind of a rush trip, but I wasn't crazy about that either. And there's a few, like I've been to a lot of places around this country. I've driven across Spain before as well, from bottom to top. And, okay, this is weird. Wait a second here. What is this? Seems like a strange place to have a statue like this. It's really closed off. Okay then. I see a comment from Kirill Mihailov says, are you Canadian, mate? I am. How could you tell? I tried to hide the accent, but it's not. I'm not very good at it. But yes, I am. Most certainly. I just don't spend a lot of time in Canada. Take it home, a souvenir. Lol says Cali Nokos. Yeah, well, it looks a little heavy. I'm not sure I'm capable of doing that, but you know, maybe I'll hire a team and get it done later. I doubt it though. Seems kind of creepy, like just dogs throwing up and naked people climbing on each other. Anyway, back to this. Dustin L says weird. I agree. Force Majeure says, I've driven on a motorbike through Spain many years ago. Beautiful country to drive across. Also, you notice when you go to most places where it comes to like filling up gas or going to the store or something like that most places are quite the same. It kind of drove me crazy going around the United States because I found after a while, every place is just a never-ending strip malls and gray buildings and vacuum shops and like, you know, laundromats and McDonald's and stuff like that, and it's kind of frustrating. It's cool in Europe though because you have so many options. Like it's different. They have actual food options here. I mean, You can find everything you need, obviously, in the United States, but there's so many small businesses here. Just a crazy amount of small businesses that are competing against each other, but they're like side by side. So you have like 5 pizza places in a row, then like 7 kebab restaurants and 2 taco places, and it's just like, how are they surviving? Well, in many places, it's due to property taxes being extraordinarily low, sales taxes being non-existent in certain places, and yeah, I don't know. It's a hard question to answer. I bumped into a guy in Seville. I went to a bar the first night I got there, and I just ended up talking with some guy at the bar for like 5 hours. It was up until 4. I'm like, oh man, it's 4. We just talked about guns and freedom and all. This guy's from New York, and he recognized my, English accent, and started talking to me. And so we went into more than a couple issues, and talked about basically the world and politics. And I think I converted him into an anarchist. I'm not sure. Gave him my card at the end. And we ended up agreeing on a lot. We debated a lot of issues like guns and stuff. But he was willing to listen, which was a nice change. And it was a really interesting conversation. We're just bumping into people like that. And one of the things that we talked about was how these small businesses can all flourish in Europe. It's a really strange situation. You just have, a place there, a place all down these alleys. There's a pizzeria right there. There's another pizzeria across the street right there in the tan building. There's another tan building that's a pizza place. And then you just have this Mexican restaurant and Mediterranean tapas bar and stuff like that. And you got this wine place here. And it's just amazing. Like, there's whatever Kipfer and Lover is. There's a tattoo shop. It's really cool. There's just like family restaurants everywhere you go here. And I'm looking into what is causing this to be. I mean, I know it's a cultural thing. There's definitely a cultural side to it. But it's got to be more than culture, because small businesses like this could not survive in the United States with the taxes and regulations. So that must have something to do with it. Sean Crush says, we have small businesses, beltway landscaping, and irrigation. So there's a lot of private construction companies around the United States. I just find like you barely ever see McDonald's and Burger King and stuff like that here. You do see it in a couple places, and in Italy they have signs pointing in that direction, but no signs pointing to the landmarks for some reason, which is weird. But overall, like it's far outweighed by the small businesses. You just see them everywhere. Julio Cañete says you are walking very touristic places in the center of Malaga. Yeah, I agree, but I mean, like even in Paris, when I was walking around in the least touristic places, and I have gone to the non-touristic areas of Malaga, and I enjoy it almost just as much. Actually, I like it more because there aren't people everywhere throwing up. There's so much people throwing up in Malaga on the streets in the historic center. Just everywhere you look, it's like 4 p.m. and there's already vomit everywhere. It's horrible, and people urinating in alleys because there's no bathrooms anywhere. It's just really bad. But that's an issue of bathrooms and over-the-top partying, which isn't the issue of Malaga as much as it is. Well, the bathroom situation is, but the drinking is just people getting stupid when they're on vacation. But even in like the smaller parts of Malaga where there aren't a bunch of people, it's amazing how many small businesses there are. I just see them everywhere. Cafes and in the United States and Canada, most of the cafes that actually can survive are like Starbucks or Tim Hortons in Canada. And it's like you barely ever see small cafes, and if you do, they're right in the center of the city and they're running on borrowed time. Anyway, I've been talking about that for a while. Sean Crush says, look us up when you get home. Will do. Always good to see entrepreneurs out here. And the Resistance says, I run a food business, market, stalls, and retail. Awesome. You know, I know a guy who is very much in the food industry in the United States and has worked with, I think, thousands of restaurants. And he was telling me the worst business you could possibly get into is the food business. He's saying, you will go broke or just be on the line of just above breaking even and just enough to pay your employees. And that it's an incredibly difficult business to actually profit off of these days anyway. So that's another thing that kind of plays into that for me. It's interesting. Chuck McMaster says, hiya. Hiya to you as well, Chuck McMaster. The HR McMaster. Let's see. Force Majeure says, have you been to El Pesqueto, Julio, my favorite food bar in Malaga? I think I've actually been there. I've been trying to find the more unique places, and not like these tourist places are always terrible. It's always the exact same food, and it's always the exact same thing, overpriced, and the service is always terrible because tipping isn't as much of a big thing in this part of Europe as well as Italy. So I feel like in a lot of ways the servers just don't care as much about helping you, and you will be trying to get a bill for like 45 minutes in some cases. I just dealt with that a couple hours ago. I was going crazy. And I actually got up and demanded the guy give me the bill because it was just taking forever. And it takes you 25, 30 minutes to actually order your food. I mean, service in Europe is really bad. I'm going to put it that way. Compared to other places where they give me, they cater to me because they know I'll tip them. And most places you tip 20%. Here, it's like tipping is often not even a thing. In Italy, people were looking at me weird when I tipped them. Anyway, Oiled Up and Ready says, what hair products do you use? Oiled Up and Ready, that's an interesting name. I'm not going to ask questions. Whatever you want to do in life, it's up to you. I've been forced to use some terrible stuff in Spain because I can't find the stuff I usually use. And it's been impossible to actually get good stuff. It wears off after an hour and I have to reapply it, and it dries up my hair and it accentuates the gray hairs. So whatever I'm using, I don't know the name of it. It's terrible though. It was a lead seller though at the co-op in Seville. Anyway, I'm getting into weird stuff that no one cares about. Julio Cañete says, warm weather invites to go out and have coffees and beers with friends. So here it's very common to have a coffee outside. Tourists also contribute to these restaurants. Yeah, certainly. Well, and it helps that a big part of the industry in Europe in general is tourism. I mean, I find that to be one of the biggest assets to much of Europe right now, other than natural resources, which isn't necessarily carried over to every European country, obviously, because the economies out here are just getting destroyed. But I mean, we're seeing the same thing in the United States and Canada as well. It's just everywhere you look, the economies are getting absolutely demolished. So it's interesting because you come to places in Europe, and it's like the tourism industry really seems to be helping prop up a lot of it. I would much rather, and I see that in Vegas, where I am usually, and I mean, I don't know. I don't know why anyone goes on vacation to the United States from Europe. There's so much to do in Europe. I'm not bashing the United States. It's just the United States is so new and clean, and by clean I don't mean hygienically clean. It just mean clean cut and black and white in a lot of cases, and expensive as well. And just I don't know. There's so much history in Europe, so much to see, so much to do. It's amazing. Anyway. Carlos Alexandros says, one of my mates in restaurant in Spain paid equivalent to €4 an hour because the owners use tricks to pay less. Black market is another factor too. Yeah, well, there's always going to be a black market. The black market is a free market. It's just restricted, so people are forced to do shady things for the sake of demand. Al Miranda says, Josh, you need to try Seville's paella dish. I do. I have. I did. I don't know why I said that in that way. Yeah, I did. It's had it a couple times. Once in Seville, twice in Malaga. It's a good plate to share. It's a good way to save money on food too. And there's lots you can order. Tastes good. Awesome stuff. Z Lanzen says there's lots to see in the U.S. It has plenty of history. Yeah, it has plenty of history, but I'm not saying there's nothing to see. I'm just saying compared to Europe, I mean, there's a 300-year-old building. Oh, here, there's a 3,000-year-old building, or a 2,000-year-old building, or 1,000, or a 500, or like an 800-year-old medieval castle. It's different. It's different. There's so much more, acceptance here for people to do whatever they want. On the beaches here in Malaga, women just walk around topless. Just saying, women just walk around completely topless. And it's pretty amazing. I'm not going to mince words there. You walk down the beach, and it's not a sexualized thing because they don't think of it as a sexualization here. It's more just like free. Let's do that. Who cares? Grow up like that, and you don't see it as crazy. I have like John Sneisen is Norwegian, and he's like, yeah, that's just a normal part of Norwegian culture, or Europe in general. People just do that, and it's not considered strange. It would be considered strange if you stand there and stare, which you've got to try your best not to, though. Pretty beautiful women in Spain, but you act appropriately. But people get weirded out about that for some reason. D Silva says, "I love Spain now." Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's a pretty great place. And Z Lanzen says, "I was like you at your age. Now I appreciate the U.S. more." Gee, topless women, how forward thinking. I think you're being negative. I don't see what the issue is. I mean, what's forward thinking about the U.S. is that the U.S. is the next empire to fall. I got a video going up on that right away. Is going from the Roman Empire to the U.S. Empire. Because the U.S. started with a great idea doesn't mean it ends with a good idea. It usually ends in bloodshed and tears and destruction, as did Rome. Rome overthrew kings to create a republic with voluntary militias and ability to carry whatever weapons you want and free speech. And how did it end? An empire that printed too much currency and banned weaponry and had operated the office of censor and cracked down on free will and murdered people if they didn't follow in their father's footsteps in their line of work, and they monopolized corporations and did price controls. It's all just way too similar, and the U.S. started off good. I'm not bashing the U.S. I love the U.S. more than I love Canada, that's for sure. And I enjoy being there. But Europe, I'm just kind of confused at how it's offensive to say, there's topless women here that don't see it as an issue, and beautiful history and cultures. I mean, what's wrong with that? What am I saying wrong there? I don't understand how that's a negative thing to put forward, or a negative idea to put forward. Is that there's more acceptance here. Now, with that said, there is such thing as over tolerance, over diversity, etc., as you see in places like Germany and France. But that was at the creation of the government, at the hand of the government. The government did that in the first place. They brought people in on purpose to conflict with other people after they blew up those people's countries and caused poverty and made them go back to the Stone Age. Then they bring them over to these countries, put them on welfare. That's one of the major issues, just stealing people's money and giving it to other people who don't deserve it or don't have a right to your money. But then again, it goes back to what I said earlier in this video, is that you don't have a right to that which you do not defend. You have to be responsible. Part of freedom is being responsible enough to defend your freedoms. So I'm not going to say, there aren't issues with cultural problems out in Europe. There's definitely cultural problems, but it's a creation of the state. I mean, this was an Arab empire in Spain for like 800 years, I think. 800 years. And it successfully converted into, it was Moorish, it was Catholic. There's a period where there are a lot of Jewish people here. I mean, and it's now just a melting pot. Now, France is different. There are attacks in the streets and stuff like that. The crime has gone up, but that has a lot to do with desperation, poverty, homelessness, money printing, creation of cultural divide via the media and the hand of the establishment, creating this massive order complex, welfare complex, dependency and servitude, and then putting people together into one little small area, like with Agenda 2030, putting them into small areas within big cities, crushing them together, pushing them into poverty, making them desperate, and then having them beg the government for more help, even though the government created the problem in the first place. You create the problem, then come in as a solution. That's what government does, because it creates more servitude and dependence and more ability for them to enslave the populace. That's exactly what the Roman Empire did. So I think that there a lot of the issues that people say with Europe should not be spread to all of Europe. Most of Europe is fine. We got some organized criminals driving around here. Okay, that's good. Anyway, they went the other way. But no, I mean, there's people who say Europe isn't completely a mess. There's certain places you only hear about the girl who gets acid thrown in her face. You don't hear about the millions and millions and millions every day who don't get acid thrown in their face. And I mean, I go to Mauritania. Everyone's like, don't go. It's a red zone, Al Qaeda country. All the governments say it's dangerous. You're going to die. You're going to get beheaded. I get there and everyone's handing me stuff. They want to help me. They'll do anything they can to help me and bring me places. And there's a free market and no tax man. And I can do whatever I want, other than drink alcohol or smoke cannabis or shake women's hands. So that's where the cultural issue comes in. And that's not even as much law as it is the law of a religion in that country. And that religion has been heavily pushed into extremities by governments around the world who have cracked down and caused them to go into a new age of defense. And it's gotten, I don't know, there's so much more to it. But I mean, the biggest periods of immigration in history came in a time of the early 20th century, late 19th century. And it didn't cause much divide as much as there was issues between, Italians and Irish and Scottish and, Protestants and Catholics and Hindus and Muslims and all that kind of stuff. That's always been an issue, but it's been pushed to the extremes in the media today, and it's not as bad as it appears. The media is making it appear much worse than it is. So my point is, I go to these places and I actually don't see much issues anywhere. As far as I see issues with poverty everywhere. That's where I see the issues, and that's the issue of government, and that's the issue of central planning and central banking. Anyway, there's a lot more to say, and I'm missing a lot of things because I'm really tired of just walking around in the heat. But it's an important issue, and again, who had the strongest borders? Let's see, Stalin had pretty strong borders. Maoist China had pretty strong borders. Why is it always the communists that have the strongest borders, and then people come in and say, in order to stop communism, we need to have stronger borders? Why not rule yourself and decide your own property and create voluntary governance structures instead of coming in as a savior, as a government, to save you from the problems of government in the first place? Take control of your own life, defend yourself, be able to be armed, be able to have the ability to defend yourself and all of that, and then you don't have to worry about begging the government to come in to save you after they've taken away all your defenses and created divide and cultural clashes. Anyway, Zoltan Boze says, agree. Thomas Eadsto says, drink a lot of water. Yes, I'm definitely going to need that. I got freaked out because my girlfriend said this morning that her throat was kind of hurting, and I'm like, oh no, it isn't. I got to go to Barcelona and Paris and Amsterdam, and then I got to speak at Anarchadelphia 2019 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Use promo code WHAM to save 5% on your tickets. By the way, stateofanarchy.com, Anarchadelphia, Google it. I can't put it on the comments here right now. And then there's also, then right after that, I'm going to Turkey. Houston, Texas, then Turkey. And I'm like, no, I cannot get sick. That's just not possible. Al Miranda says, when will you be in Philadelphia? I'll be in Philadelphia between, I think, September 12th and 16th for Anarchadelphia. Be speaking on a panel there, I believe, with Luke Rudowski and Dan Dix and Carrie Wedler. I forget who else. It's going to be a great event, though. I'm really looking forward to hanging out with a bunch of people. Trinaman922 says, "What's in Houston?" Oh, nothing. It's just where I'm staying before I head out to Turkey. I'm meeting up with our awesome donor who's bringing me to Turkey in Houston. So he's flying me to Houston first, meet up with him, and then we fly out to Turkey from there. Let's see. I think I'm only going to be there for a day and a half. I don't know. It looks like there's some fighting going on in comments. I missed most of it, so I'm not going to comment on the fighting. Sean Crush says legal equals bad, illegal equals good. That's what we've been brought to believe. Legal just means government control of something. So when something's legalized, that means that it's controlled. I've never understood the need by so many to push for legalization rather than just ending the prohibition. Zoltan Bose says, I predict most currencies crash in the next 6 months. Get gold, rich land, quality off-grid tools. Yeah, and be responsible and sustainable. And I mean, that goes for everyone. And it's not just gold, silver, and that's just my opinion too. It's not advice or anything, but gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, in my opinion, that are sound and decentralized and properly fundamentally useful. My whole shtick. Norman Liu, yes, did not want to bring that up, but there is no toilets to go for pee, so people just use street corners. Sad. It's a really nice place to be. That's all over Europe. That's a really weird situation. Everywhere I go around here, there's just like no bathrooms, and if there is, you have to pay like an entire euro to use it. Anyway, I think I'm gonna get going because I'm past the hour mark and my throat's getting sore from talking so much, and I don't want to be paranoid after my girlfriend told me that her throat felt kind of sore this morning. Make sure to press like if you haven't already. It definitely helps us after we end this cast. It'll allow us to actually reach people, which will be important. And anyway, Force Majeure says go into one of the bars to use the toilet. Yeah, well, you have to buy something in order to do that, and that would mean that either way you're spending money on using one, and you end up having to drink a drink to use it. And a lot of them are like only over 10 euros to use it. I saw that a lot in Italy. Let's see. Gunther now says, thanks, Josh. Thank you very much for watching. I'm getting really tired and wiped out. Sean Krish says alcohol way worse than coke or heroin. Worse than coke, I think. I don't know about heroin, but definitely worse than coke. But it's one of the biggest problems overall. Andrew Cannon, have a great day, everybody. Have a great day yourself as well. I'm going to take off now. I appreciate everyone tuning in. And always good to talk with everyone and connect with the audience. Make sure to stay tuned. We got a lot of videos coming up right away, and I really appreciate all the super chats. They make a huge difference. My phone's about to die, and I need to go plug it in. So again, it's great talking with everyone, and I'll see you all soon. Gunzel Kurler, thank you. That's an interesting name you got there. Anyway. I'm going to sign off from here. This is Josh Sigurdson signing up from World Alternative Media. Find the truth. Be the change. I need some sleep.